See, I think I had this in my head for a while to do, and then when I decided to actually do it, I kind of looked around the internet. I hadn't actually seen anything like this. I'd seen lots of smaller tables that had like 2 inches thick of epoxy and just stuff thrown on top of it, and it kind of maybe making something, but nothing actually routed down into the table so that it's actually about the same thickness as a normal table. You know, it's just maybe an 1/8 inch of epoxy over the top. And I don't know, I just started doing it. I'll probably insert some pictures here of all the different steps of it. So I made this about a year ago, right before I moved into this house. And it's probably got about, I don't know, $2,000 worth of parts, a lot of pistons, some chain there, some cam chains, a bunch of fibers out of clutches and clutch plates. I think these over here are out of snowmobiles. And I think I got about 100 hours into actually routering it down into the table, so it's not just sitting on top of the table. I just didn't like the way that looked and saw a lot of people that had done that, but again, I'm freehand routering, and maybe not the best as my first project. But as a whole, I think it looks pretty good. Made some benches to match. And there is some problems, such as it's delaminating. Like right here, you can see it's kind of pulling up off the table, which I think is either due to the fact that I used the epoxy too fast after staining it. Probably should have waited a little bit. And I also think the clear coat that I'd put on first didn't adhere, probably again due to the stain not drying out fast enough, and me being impatient. And so what happened too was I got bubbles coming up here because it was soaking into the wood, because the first coat didn't seal up the wood. But it is my own, so I'm not too worried. On these, I don't know if you can see, but it actually does go all the way through. You can see through. I gotta polish it so it looks a little bit cleaner, shiny, so you can see through. Maybe put a light in there, not really sure. But it was a lot of fun doing it. I actually burnt up one router doing it, so probably going a little too deep. So some of the things that are in here, here's a connecting rod for your piston, a bunch of front sprockets, got some big rear sprockets. I think this is a 450. There's another 350 there. I believe that's a 250, and then a 250 here and a 250 down there. And then we've got brakes, which I believe are off of, kind of looks like maybe a Can-Am side by side. This I believe is off of, I don't know, maybe some 450 four-wheeler. I believe these are off a snowmobile. And then clutch fibers, some clutch plates, another rear sprocket. Shims here off a, I'm not even actually sure. See, here's a bunch of the parts that I have that are left over. I haven't even looked in here. I believe this is for cams. I'm not sure why. Got more sprockets. I got some 2-stroke pistons, shift levers, bunch of bearings. Now they're pretty cool, but you really got to burn all the grease out of them. So I just use a MAP gas torch. It seemed to work pretty good because I tried engine degreaser, tried all kinds of stuff like that, and it was just leaving a film and a residue on everything. Some of the stuff I take a grinder to, and I would make it shiny like this. Some of it I like bluing it, kind of like how this cam, part of a camshaft, is kind of blued. This one's a little rusty, so I'd have to heat it up again. But I actually like that on a lot of stuff. I've got another local shop. This is actually out of my wife's truck. This is why you don't get Ford. See, that just shot right out of the engine. Got this, which is, not sure. It's a cylinder. I don't know what it was out of. But I would sink that all the way through the table, tape up the bottom, fill it with something, maybe even put a piston in there, cut it off. I got this. It's the side cover off of, again, not sure, because a lot of this stuff was just given to me, but it doesn't matter. Clean that up. Look pretty cool sitting in there. Maybe put a gear like this sitting right in the middle. Shifter. I think in here, what do I got? Oh, got some axle cups off of my side-by-side. But all this stuff will go into the next table. And actually over here, and it's full of stuff. But this is another epoxy table, and it's actually a bench, and it goes all the way. This is all epoxy. Oh, also, if you're thinking about doing something like this and you're nervous about it, just do it. I mean, I think there's only about 250 bucks in epoxy, and then that's kind of because I screwed up. So it really should have only been like 2 gallons, so like around 120, 130, something like that. But the table, Facebook, 40 bucks. So it's only the time I had to go pick it up, which is actually only about 2 miles away. And then all the parts were free to me, but obviously you could throw whatever you're into this table and do it. But I mean, don't be afraid. I mean, it was actually pretty cheap, other than the, like I said, about 100 hours into it, and that's a lot of time. So if you do screw up, you might be a little mad with yourself, but who cares? Thanks. If you like this, like, subscribe, and I'll make some more videos.